from the Lakeside Newsroom of the Henrico Citizen, your hometown news source since 2001. This is the Henrico News Minute with publisher Tom Lapis.
Another turn in the ongoing masks in schools debate, and a Henrico police officer faces voluntary manslaughter charges. We'll have details in today's Henrico News Minute. It's Monday, February 7th, 2022.
And now for the news.
All Henrico County public school students are again expected to wear masks all day as of today. That's because an Arlington County judge temporarily blocked Governor Glenn Youngkin's executive order that gave parents the option to opt their children out of school mask mandates. That happened on Friday. Immediately after that ruling, Henrico schools officials announced that schools will not allow any students to attend schools without wearing masks again. The school system did not rescind its universal masking requirement following Youngkin's executive order several weeks ago, but it did allow some students to defy the rules at the insistence of their parents. Most of the students who were not wearing masks last week attended Deep Run High School, according to school system officials. Now, the ruling Friday in Arlington came from a lawsuit against Youngkin brought by 7 school boards, including those of Richmond and Fairfax. Henrico School Board did not participate. In the lawsuit, the school boards complained that the executive order undermined the, quote, clear authority, end quote, vested in them by the General Assembly in state law Senate Bill 1303 passed last year that was designed to implement a reopening plan. Arlington County Circuit Court Judge Luis DiMatteo said the language in the law clearly states that the General Assembly delegated certain policy determinations to school boards and said the governor had no authority to overrule them. A spokesperson for Youngkin said in a statement that his administration will appeal the ruling. You can read much more about this topic right now on henricocitizen.com by clicking News and then Education. The Henrico police officer who shot a Norfolk motorist whose car had overturned on I-295 last November has now been charged in his death. Officer Timothy Grant Million III has been charged with voluntary manslaughter in the death of Tony Singleton. Million appeared in court on Friday for processing. He had been indicted by a grand jury the previous day. He's been on leave with pay since the incident occurred. Miller was released after the hearing. If he fails to appear at a later court date, he will forfeit $25,000. A familiar face locally has left Henrico County for a statewide job. Richmond and Henrico Health District's Director Danny Avula is leaving his position to become the Director of the Virginia Department of Social Services. That announcement came down Friday. Avula was named to the new role by Virginia Governor Glenn Youngkin. He will be replaced at the RHHD beginning this week by Melissa Verrey, who will serve as the acting director, as she has for much of the past year or so, after Avula was named the state's vaccine coordinator last year. Avula had served his role at the RHHD since March of 2016. Previously, he'd been the deputy director of the agency for 7 years. He continues also to practice clinically as a public health physician specializing in pediatrics and preventive medicine. He's also an affiliate faculty member at VCU. Now, former Governor Terry McAuliffe had appointed Avula to the State Board of Social Services in 2013, and he also served as board chair from 2017 to 2019. Verrey has served as deputy director of the RHHD since 2017 and previously served as the deputy state epidemiologist for the Hawaii Department of Health. She's also worked at the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention. The January surge of the Omicron variant of COVID-19 is likely responsible for the deaths of 19 Henrico citizens. Those deaths were reported during the first 4 days of this month. They were all attributed to COVID and likely occurred because of Omicron. Virginia Department of Health officials wrote in a statement last week that the increase in deaths being reported not only locally but also statewide was attributable to the natural delay between the onset of illness to death and the time it takes for the National Center of Health Statistics to review and assign appropriate codes to Virginia death certificates before they are sent back to the VDH. officials indicated that more deaths likely would be reported in the coming days. Of those 19 new deaths reported in Henrico, 3 occurred in people in their 60s, 3 among people in their 70s, and 5 among people 80 or older. Ages of the other victims were not immediately available. In total, now the county has witnessed 784 deaths related to COVID-19. There have been 30 reported since January 22nd. The Omicron variant appeared to peak in Henrico right at the turn of the year. The county's single-day record for confirmed new cases occurred January 2nd with 942. Since mid-January, the average number of cases during a moving 7-day window generally has decreased from a peak of 700 January 12th to 266 on Friday. Now, case counts are much less relevant now than at previous times during the pandemic, given that many people are conducting at-home tests that are never reported to the VDH, and many others likely have had the virus but have not been tested. Still, combined with hospitalization and death data, they do help provide an overall sense of the virus's ebbs and flows.